Hey guys, today we're going to practice a really important skill called proofreading. We're still going to be talking about sentences and using what we've learned about the 4 types of sentences and how to choose the right punctuation for the end of each type of sentence. Proofreading is something that we do when we look back at sentences that have already been written to make sure that they were written correctly. For example, let's look at these 5 sentences and make sure that they're written correctly. Number 1 says, "Please sit down." Please sit down is a command. It's asking someone to do something. And commands can end with a period, so that's okay. But obviously what we're missing in this sentence is a capital letter. This sentence should read, "Please sit down," like this. The second sentence says, "I really like this movie." That's not really a question. "I really like this movie" is telling something. That should be a statement. Statements should always end with periods, not question marks. So my proofreading tells me I need to change that question mark to a period. Number 3 says, "Georgia, can you answer the question?" It ends with an exclamation point. Kind of sounds like we're yelling at Georgia. But I think we're just supposed to be asking her a question. So I think we need to change the exclamation point to a question mark. But also, I remember that yesterday we learned that special rule about using commas to set off direct address. We said that when we were talking to someone specifically, we would set off their name with a comma. So when we're talking to Georgia, we need to set off her name with a comma. Georgia, comma, can you answer the question? It should look like this. Georgia is set off with a comma, and then the question ends with a question mark. Number 4 says, "Wow, look at all the people." That doesn't quite sound right. Usually when I say wow, I say it more like this. Wow, look at all the people. Wow is a special kind of exclamation point called an interjection. We learned about those words yesterday. An interjection is a word that expresses strong feeling. We use an exclamation point after an interjection. So this sentence should read, "Wow, look at all the people." The last sentence says, "Follow me," with a question mark. Follow me is a command. It's telling somebody to do something. Commands should end in periods or exclamation points, depending on how they're said. So, "follow me" should be written like this. All right, so today I'm going to teach you how to do something that you're going to be asked to do several times this year. You're going to need to proofread this entire paragraph, and on the lines below, you're going to correct any mistakes that you find. The mistakes in this week's paragraph are going to be about sentence fragments, capitalization, and punctuation, which are the things that we've been practicing this week. You're going to read the paragraph, and as you go, you're going to correct any mistakes and write them correctly underneath. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to get my box ready to type and get rid of that notification. All right, so the first sentence says, "Last night my sister wanted to go to the movies." They have this ending in a question mark. I don't think it's really a question. I think it's a statement just saying that her sister wanted to go to the movies. So I think it should end in a period instead of a question mark. I'm also noticing that they didn't use a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence, so I'm going to be sure to correct that. Last night, my sister wanted to go to the movies. That looks better. It starts with a capital letter and ends with a period because it's a statement. The next sentence says, "I wanted to go with her." That sounds right. It's giving us information. Starts with a capital letter. I see no problem. The next sentence says, "What was stopping us?" What is a question? That's a question word. So I think this should be a question. We want to know what was stopping her from going to the movie. What was stopping them from going? We should end our sentence with a question mark. The next sentence says, I had to finish my math homework first. Sounds like a statement. I don't really see any problems with that one. The next words say, the hardest problems ever. The hardest problems ever? I don't think that's a complete thought. That's definitely not a complete sentence. How could we turn it into a complete sentence? Well, there are lots of ways. You could say something like, they were the hardest problems ever. That would show strong feeling and would sound more like an exclamation, so I would use an exclamation point. The next sentence says, I asked my sister to wait for me. They used a question mark here. She is asking her sister for something, but this is kind of tricky. Even though the speaker is asking their sister to do something, this in itself isn't a question. It's a statement saying that she did ask her sister to wait for her. So we don't actually use a question mark here, we just use a period. The next sentence says, what do you think she did? Like we said earlier, what is a question mark? That sounds like a question, so that sentence should end in a question mark. It should also start with a capital letter, which they didn't do. The next sentence says, she helped me figure out the answers. That sounds right to me. It uses a capital letter, it sounds like a statement, uses a period. All right, the last sentence says, made it to the show just in time. That doesn't quite sound like a complete thought to me. Who made it to the show just in time? Also, there's no ending punctuation. To make this a complete thought, we need to add, we made it to the show just in time. And since that's a statement giving us information, we need to make sure that we end it with a period. All right, let's reread our paragraph to make sure it all looks right now. Last night, my sister wanted to go to the movies. I wanted to go with her. What was stopping us? I had to finish my math homework first. They were the hardest problems ever. I asked my sister to wait for me. What do you think she did? She helped me figure out the answers. We made it to the show just in time. All right, don't forget that tomorrow you're going to be taking a quiz. You'll find it on this same Google Classroom page under the link. You'll log on to this Google form, enter your Google ID, and answer some questions. This is where your grade will come from for grammar for this week, so make sure to try your best and look back at any of the videos if you need help.